Hello, my name is Serrano Keith Baldio. Normally, I'm a publisher. I've been a publisher for over a decade, and I have reported on government corruption, incompetence, and people who choose to control the government for their own benefit. And today I would like to caution people before you vote, listen to this message very carefully. So as a publisher of a newspaper, one of the things that I pride myself in doing is never taking sides. I never took the side of the Republicans and I never took the side of the Democrats because I believe that some people carry certain skills and knowledge and understanding that can help the community. But if you are prejudiced, if you are a racist, if you are in any way using the government position to disenfranchise somebody else, I will step in with my newspaper and I will expose it. So tonight, I received an email as a candidate that I should vote for one of my opponents, and I was not on the list. So I'd like to spell out very carefully what happened. Some time ago, I met Missy Shorey. Missy Shorey was the last Republican to run the Dallas County Republican Party. Missy Shorey found out that then Adam Magoo, who's leaving, was endorsed by Mike Rollins. And Missy Shorey told a woman by the name of Susan Fontaine, who was trying to get control of the Dallas County Republican Party, that because Adam Magoo was endorsed by Mike Rollins, she should not be promoting him. And what Susan Fontaine was very angry. She was very angry at me. She was not talked to me. I am a very strong Christian conservative. I do not let people make laws against the gospel. I have authored a resolution designating September as Christian Heritage Month. So why did Susan Fontaine have a dislike and a disdain against me? So I tried to be friends with this woman and I tried to deal with her in a professional manner, but she refused. She has begun talking to people in the party and turning them against me. So eventually, I told Mrs. Shorey that she was playing games, and Mrs. Shorey asked me to write a letter to the Dallas County Republican Party, which I did. Shortly after that, Mrs. Shorey died, and the party went to hell. I decided I was going to run for office still, even though Mrs. Shorey had died. We were becoming very good friends, and I used to go at her house where she was teaching me how to run a good campaign. But Susan Fontaine, I will show you who she is. But I want to explain who the people behind me and how crucial this election is to both Democrats and Republicans. The woman at the end here is Kathy Stewart. She's running as a Republican. The gentleman behind me is Brian Hansenbauer. He's running as a Democrat. This is me. I'm running as an independent nonpartisan. And this behind me is Chris Carter. Chris Carter is running as a Republican, but there is an issue with all three people behind me, and I'll explain that to you in a second. Before you vote, you must listen to this, because you are being lied to. You are being bamboozled. You are being misled as to who these people are, and nobody's going to tell you this is why I started my newspaper. So here's the deal. Here, I'm going to show you a photo if I can put, here we go. This photo is a Democratic event to raise money for the Democrats. The woman that you see here in white is Susan Fontaine going into a Democratic event. These events raise money for abortion. Let me see if I can just back up here a second. Here she is. So here's Susan Fontaine. I'll go on the other side here. Susan Fontaine is going into a Democratic event to raise money for them. Raise money for abortion, raise money for gay rights, which if that's your thing, that's fine, but stay on the other side. Raise money for open borders, raise money for gun confiscation, raise money for everything that conservatives, patriots, and Republicans stand for. She is raising money with Adam Magoo, who is always known as a Democrat, but she's pushed him with the Republican votes. That's how he wins. The Republican has about 5,000 votes in District 10. And those votes put the candidates in power. So Susan Fontaine is not a Republican, but yet somehow she was very clever to get. First, she had the Republican, Women's Republican in District 10. She got herself as the precinct chair. She got herself as a state representative in Senate District 16. And she reports to some guy named of Matt Rendell or Rinaldi. And she's now the the Republican precinct chair. She's the Dallas County executive director. And let me tell you how she got that position. So I spoke with some real Republicans from the Dallas Deplorable. And I tell you, as a minority, I was never discriminated against by that organization. But the biggest discrimination that I get as a conservative, as a Christian, has been from the Dallas County Republican Party because of Susan Fontaine. And now the Park City Republican Party, apparently she's influencing both. So I am a person of color, which is so sad to have to look at myself that way, because I never did before I got to Dallas, Texas. So here's what Susan Fontaine told two women that came back to me that's in the party. She said she did not want a black person running District 10 of me. And I was like, I am not a black person. And she said, if he's not white, he's black, he's a Democrat from New York. That's what it's in her head. That's who I am. And that is why she does not want me as one of the choices to be on the Republican or conservative ballot. So she took Chris and she took Chris and she took Kathy, but left me out only because of the color of my skin. When people call Trump a racist, this is why they do it. Because people like Susan Fontaine targets people like me to not get into power, to not want to help my community, to not want to represent Christian conservatives, because I am not white. This kind of racism in the Republican Party is why everybody hates Donald Trump. It's why everybody thinks that Republicans are racist. When you do stuff like this, she's now running both parties. So if you are a Republican, you are going to get a card in the mail with Kathy and Chris, but not me. If you get an email, which Mrs. Shorey told her to give me the emails, she refused to give it to me. So she promoted Adam Magoo, who was endorsed by Mike Rollins, and Mrs. Shorey was very strict. If anybody is raising money or is endorsing a Democrat, they are not to be promoted. But Mrs. Shorey still went ahead and promoted Adam Magoo because he was white, even though he was a Democrat. And she went with him to raise money for the Democrats. This is why you need to be careful in this election. And it was Kathy Stewart. And the reason I put the Exchange Club up here is because I want you to understand something. Kathy Stewart went into the Exchange Club and she joined them. And then she told them that the question was asked, would you support a law or an ordinance for transvestite, business license that is sexually oriented? And both these two people here, Brian and Kathy, said yes. They will produce an ordinance. And this is the ones that being a Republican leader that's endorsed by Magoo. Will produce an ordinance that will have a business license towards children that is sexually oriented. And this is very disturbing. I will do a series of videos. I want you to come back to my Facebook page, Surrounded 2023, and you will see the videos of her saying she's going to do that. How is she a Republican, and why is Susan Fontaine pushing her as the lead person? Because it's corrupted. The entire party is corrupted. The last director was Anderson. I think his name was John Anderson. And according to members of the Dallas Deplorables, let me tell you something. The name may have sounded strange, but as a person of color and a minority, I was treated so respectful by those people. It was remarkable and amazing to me that these people who were called Dallas Deplorables accepted me as a minority, as a leader in running for office. But the Dallas County Republican Party and the Park City Republican leaders. I am not speaking to the followers. I am not speaking to voters, but I want you to understand, if you are a conservative voter in Dallas District 10, they've got you fooled. They've got you misled. They are picking candidates that they can control to push their Democratic agenda in the Republican Party. So you must understand, I am a news person. I would have broadcast this anyway. The death of Missy Shorey ended conservative values and conservative issues in the party. I was told that John Anderson was forced out by Susan Fountain. Forced out. She did not want him in there. I think it was for LGBT because his assistant was LGBT or some other issue. But I am a conservative. I have been to the LGBT flag raising 3 years in a row because as somebody who ran for office, I have to represent everybody. So that's why I went to let them know I represent you as well. I have never seen any one of my opponents, including the Democrat, down there supporting them. But the fact of the matter is this. Even the Democrat, the LGBT community, it's called Gays Against something. They do not want children sexualized. Even the gay community will not have an ordinance that will sexualize children. And they have said it. It's the Gays Against something. I can't remember what the last word is. So why are these two people looking to pass an ordinance? And Kathy, who's boasting all the Republican votes that she would pass a resolution on ordinance, which is ordinance is a stable law, a sexually oriented business license to open up in District 10 any business like that. But this one includes children. This one includes the transvestite on the label of the Budweiser, the Bud Light, that, and it goes towards children. Brian said he agrees with Kathy, and what he's going to do is at a certain part, they will cut off in the night and turn it to all adults. So why is Kathy on the Republican ticket when she's sexualizing our children? And she would push for it. Her explanation was this, that she doesn't want to tell parents what to do. She'll do the license. They can go there, whatever they want to do. But the fact of the matter is, you can do it anyway. If a parent wants to do it now, they can do it. But the government cannot be involved in taking ordinances and law and sexualizing oriented towards our children. The minute sexual and children comes up, it should be a no. But Kathy was fighting. I had ripped her in the Exchange Club, which happens to be all men in that club. And they probably inducted her because they want that. So I'm suspicious of this club of all white men looking to get this license for kids. Because we know men go to look at boys who dress up like girls, girls who dress up like boys. And I am saying this because I'm so suspicious. A decade of news publishing, I can tell you, this is suspicious. So I wanted to do this video to explain to you what's going on if you're a conservative in District 10. And even if you're a Democrat, this should not be happening. Brian just became a Democrat. He's never been to one of the flag raising to support the LGBT community. It's a large community, and he's never been there. He just became there because he's going to use them so he can get the seat in office. We know that the biggest form of corruption is a two-tier party. It's the Republican and it's the Democrats. And what they do is they fight for power. And no matter who you vote for, you're going to get burned. Because it's like two serpents. You're going to get one of the serpents, and if you get the lesser of the one who is the lesser of the evil, that serpent is still going to bite you. You're going to lose on the taxes. You're going to lose on the budget. You're going to lose on crime. You're going to lose on everything because the purpose of them running for office is not legitimate. It's not felt in the heart. It's not felt in the purpose to make the city a better place. It's for special interest agenda. And that's why when I decided to run, just as my newspaper, stay in the middle, be an independent. Democrats in the community are going to have problems. They're going to want to come to you. Republicans are going to have problems and issues with the government, and they're going to want to come to you. Because the issues of the government is why I'm running, to make sure that the seat is open to everybody if they need help. In my newspaper, in an all-Democratic city, they knew I was a Christian conservative, and they still came to me for help because that was my main purpose. So I am asking you to take a look at these people and be very careful. And I will leave you with this. Chris Carter, Brian Hansenbauer, and Kathy Stewart all supported white supremacy. All of it. Chris Carter sued taxpayers to keep the white supremacy monument. Kathy and Brian both doled out money from their pocket a month after Adam Magoo fought to keep that racist monument against the black community. Both Kathy actually took out money twice after he voted for it and put it in his pocket. Brian once. And in addition to that, they both used their office to go to his campaign kickoff in their official capacity to help him get reelected after he did this to the minority community. And that's why they hate me, because I am a minority. Yes, your Republican leaders hate me. They don't want me to be the leader here because they don't want anything but white control in District 10. There are 5,000 votes left here from the white community. I go to all the meetings, and I also want to show you this. When the first black church invited all of us, and there's a photo of me and Mrs. Shorey. None of my opponents have been seen with her. And I'll go along and see if I can find other things. There is Mrs. Shorey. I was at this meeting. She was the last real. And there is Paxton's wife. I have been in the party a long time with people. There is a college of colored kids. None of my opponents, because they were colored. There was no white votes here. They refused to show up. Is this the Dallas, our future? There is myself and Mrs. Shorey having a conversation when we caught Susan Fontaine supporting the Democrats. And I have been in this party for a very long time, and there is Susan Fontaine hiding her face from me because she knows I'm onto her. Why is she hiding her face? The first black church for slaves invited all of us to a forum, not just the kids. And they refused to show up. This is the church. It is the first church formed by slaves. And only I show up because what they're doing is they know that Lake Highlands has the 5,000 votes that they need. So the black community does not matter to them. The black churches, the black kids and minorities, Latinos as well, doesn't matter, and that's why they don't show up. I show up to the white events like Exchange Club and the Advocate. I show up everywhere. As a newspaper publisher, I did it. As a candidate and as a councilman, I will do it. And I promise you, I will not stop fighting the Republican Party for bringing on Susan Fontaine with her racist agenda, telling people that I am black and that's why I should not be on the ticket. I am first a Christian, and that should trump everything that she's saying about the color of skin. And in my spirit, I have been around the party. You've seen the photos, and that's just a few that I took. None of my opponent has been around. So why is the Dallas County Republican Party, and why is Park City Republican Women Party picking people that has never been around and would only look at the issues of the white privileged agenda? This is not District 10. This is the last segregated district. This is the last stronghold. And if you're a conservative, this is not what we want to do. We had a civil war. We had Lincoln. We had Reagan. Up till 1964, we had Martin Luther King telling us racism is over. Why are they bringing it back? Why do they still want to shove it down our face in District 10? Because we have the last remnants of Confederates who are picking people, and Susan Fontaine is leading that to keep people like me out to help everybody. We're 64% minority in this community, and we are suffering and we're struggling. People are crying, people are dying. The resources, the white community do not need it. They're good. But it's my minority community that needs it. And that's why I'm asking you for your support. Not for me, but to help them. I've been a president of a newspaper for over a decade. I've seen the suffering. But today, I've seen the racism. And it's reared its head in the Republican Party against Missy Shori's wishes. And I'm asking you to support me and not the racism, not the sexually exploiting children, and not suing our city to keep white supremacy. My name is Serrano Keith Balgio, and I am number 3 on the ballot. And I will keep fighting no matter what. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.